Thanks for tuning in. My name is Lisa, and in this little space of mine, I love to share all things beauty and a little life in between. Now, in today's video, it's going to be the life in between because we got a sit down video, and I'm sharing 10 things that I learned in my 30s. The truth is that I'm turning 40 at the end of this year. So 10 things that I learned in my 30s. The fact that I am turning 40 at the end of the year, to a certain extent, like, it scares me, but I can't help but to continue to remind myself that it is only up from here. It's only up from here, especially as I take these lessons with me. And I do have my notes here, so if you see me reading, if it seems like I'm reading or I'm looking down and something, child, I'm referring back to my notes. And so the first lesson is that it is okay to outgrow your friends. It is okay to leave your childhood friends where they are. I believe that people come into your life for a reason and a season, and just as seasons change, like, people change. And if those friends aren't growing and changing with you and ultimately are a reflection of where you see yourself and where you want to be, then it's okay to, like, shoot them the deuces and bounce. I feel like true friends understand that. True friends, when you meet them, there's a certain of, like, relatability that you receive from that friendship, or that vibe that you get from them, that you kind of sort of get the feeling that, hey, we see each other and we ultimately want to be in those same places. And so true friends that are meant to be with you in the seasons, in the different seasons as they change, they're going to change with you. They're going to respect that change. And ultimately, like, those are the certain type of vibes that I feel like you should be picking up and you should be getting from them up off rip. Second thing is bet and invest on yourself. Don't allow, and I can't think of the word right now, but don't allow self-doubt. Don't allow self-doubt to, like, creep in. Like, sometimes that's inevitable. Self-doubt is going to creep in, but don't let it, like, settle in. Don't make a room for it. Don't allow it to stay there. Bet on yourself, invest in yourself. And it takes for you to take a chance on yourself sometimes before anybody else do. You never want to leave room for, like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I feel like there are so many things that I've left on the table, so many things that I should have just taken the chance to pursue and do when I had maybe just one kid or even two kids. In fact, one kid, because I had my second child in my 30s. My first was in my 20s. And I think of all the things that I could have done, that we could have done, and the things that I could have pursued while I only had just, you see me talking about two. Child, I had a drink earlier. I had a drink before this video. But I think of all the things that I, could have done when I had one kid. And that was probably the best time for me to truly bet on myself. Now I feel like in my late 30s, moving on to my 40s, I can still bet on myself. However, I have to do it strategically. Like, I can't do it like all willy-nilly, or I can't do it with the same amount of risk that I could have done while I was in my 30s. And so the 30s would have been like a prime and pivotal time, just with the things that you've learned from in your 20s, moving on to your 30s. Like, I should have definitely betted on myself. The third thing is, like, it's okay to change. It is okay to change, and you should not feel bad about changing. People that understand and that are mature and that are at your level, and shoot, the people that you should really truly have in your life will understand, and they're going to either change with you. Number one, they were destined to change with you. Okay. They were destined to change with you. They will understand that change, and they will ultimately adapt. So it is okay to change. I remember posting something on Instagram saying that let go or leave behind the people that let go or walk away. That's what I started that post with. Walk away from those people, those friends who love to start conversations with remember when you used to. Okay, because those people they refuse to let go of the person that you used to be. And it's okay to change. And if they continue to remind you that you've changed, definitely continue to change and, like, let them go. Leave them where they're at. And you know what? Just so I can make sure that I don't go to the same one twice. I'm gonna go ahead and cross it out, child. Give me 1 second. 2, 3. Next lesson, and I believe I'm number four, and one I would be a professional lesson, and that lesson would be to never stay at an employer too long. I know people take pride on being in jobs that they started on, that help them grow, that they, or saying that they've been with an employer for 10, 20, 30 years, but I've come to learn that you cannot max out your earning potential while being with a specific employer for 20 to 30 years. Something that I've learned is that when any position, there's only a certain max that they can increase you. And so let's say, for example, you're at 50,000, for your next raise, or the most that you can max out at a certain position is at maybe 15% or 10%. And even if there is another position that you apply for, let's say for that position, let's say, for example, you're at 50,000. And then there is a position at the bank where the mid is 80,000, and they will advertise the mid. So say, for example, you're in a role that makes 50,000. You see a role that has a mid at 80 and maxes out at maybe let's say for 100. They can easily bring somebody in from the outside at that mid, at that 80, or even max them out at that 100K. However, with you being at your 50, child, you can only get up to maybe the max, depending on the employer, at 25%, maybe even 30%, which will never really bring you to that 80. And so that is why it is very important for you to have an idea of a salary range that you might particularly want to be within the next 3 to 4 to 5 years. And heavily negotiate on that salary, your entry level salary, because child, where you come in at help you get to where you ultimately want to be at within the next 5 years. And so it's important for you to apply to other employers. And me, I made the mistake of being at an employer for far too long, for 10 years. And 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to, look into other opportunities. I prayed to God, child. I even gave him that salary that I wanted, child. And he gave it to me. I almost doubled my earning. I almost doubled my salary by moving on to the next employer. And so never stay with an employer for far too long, especially when you're not at a salary that is going to get you where you want to be within the next 5 years. Child, just don't do it to yourself. Credit is king. And so that is the next lesson. I was raised in a household where money was scarce, child. We ain't had none of that. Haitian American. My mom don't even speak the language of the land, child. We ain't even from here. Mama not even from here. You know what I'm saying? No GED, no education, don't even speak the language. And so money, credit, that isn't something that was really heavily taught. We didn't realize how important it is until later on in life. And that was still lessons that, as my mom learned, she didn't reiterate. She didn't teach us something that wasn't reiterated and taught in the classrooms either. And so I didn't find out till late how important credit was. You can make all the money in the world. You can make the 6 figures. If your credit ain't your word ain't. They don't believe that you're going to pay your bills on time. They don't believe that you're going to responsibly borrow money. There's almost nothing in the world that you can get if your credit ain't good, okay? Your credit, I feel literally backs your cash up. So credit is king. Okay, and I believe I'm on number 5. I don't know what number I'm at, but the next one is... Let me find the next one. The next one is to make yourself a priority. I truly believe that you can have a servant heart and still make yourself a priority. You can still be a service to others and still make yourself a priority. There is nothing wrong with being selfish or being strategic with who you give your time to, who you give your energy to, the things that you give your energy to, just ultimately finding the strength and having the ability to say no. Okay. Protect your peace at all costs. Never sacrifice your health, your future. Never put anybody else's health or future above yourself, unless it's your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like your kids. You can still be selfish about your time, your future, your resources, your needs, your health, still being someone that serves others and of service. Like all of that is possible. It's all about balance, baby. There was a certain quote that I had started for a minimum time only to live by. Service above self was a quote that I came across, that I saw, and that I continued to, implement in my life, especially after, becoming a member of the sorority. Shout out to Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. After becoming a member of a sorority, like service above self, that was like heavy in my life. However, like I had to take a deep dive, a deep look into my life and see where I ultimately was and look at the things that I ultimately wanted to do. And it required for me to be truly a little bit of like selfish with my time, with myself, with my energy. Like you gotta put yourself first sometimes.
Gotta put me first. I gotta put me first.
I gotta put myself first, Lucius. That's ultimately what I had to do. So I just had to ultimately find the balance in doing all of that. Like just really like pouring into me and being able to tell people no, and all of that affects and reflects on like your mental health. Put yourself first, okay? Lucius. Next lesson is like love on your man. Like, and when I say love on your man, I mean love on your man. Like, I mean love on your man. And I don't know how to like tastefully even like put this. I know I said love on your man, and you already know what I mean when I say that. But child, make sure that man is happy. Most men are one track minded. And usually those are the things, whether it has to do with like hormones, endorphins, whatever the scientific meaning is behind that, like it helps with all of that. It helps with that for him. It helps with that for you. I know personally that is something that has always been like important in my marriage, important to the both of us. And no matter like what changes in our lives, in our times, in our schedules, that is something that I always have to try to find myself. Sometimes I gotta like check myself, and I gotta check myself and remember to make time for that. I gotta remember to check myself and make time for him. And also, like, in addition to that, there's almost nothing that you can get within reason from that man, child, if you keep that man pleased, if you keep that man loved, if you continue to love on that man. Okay. Yeah, love on your man, keep him happy. When I know the saying is happy wife, happy life, but I'm a firm believer that a happy husband, happy home, happy wife, happy life. And so like, just please that man, keep him happy, child. Keep him happy. He's happy in turn. You will be happy. Like, I promise you. The next lesson I would say would be to like invest in elevating like your makeup application. Invest in your makeup application, perfecting your makeup skills. And I believe I previously said this before. I know a lot of people like to think, particularly men, that women like to hide, things that is wrong with their skin. We like to hide behind the makeup, when in fact the makeup reveals it all. The makeup reveals it all. The makeup shows all the things. And honestly, trying to perfect my makeup skills has been hands down the best investment, or the best thing that I've been able to do, especially for myself in my 30s, because it revealed all of the things that were wrong with my skin, and it moved me to begin to act on that. It moved me to begin to perfect that. Literally, hands down, the best thing that I've done for myself in my 30s. And then, child, it minimizes the amount of times that you have to pay for a makeup artist, okay? Which in turn keeps coins in the pockets, okay? But that is a life lesson, a lesson that I learned, lessons that I've taken, things that I've learned in my 30s. Let me take a look here and see what number I'm on, child. I think I was on 5, 6, 7, 8. And you know what? I think that probably might be it. I think it actually is only 8. Let me continue to look in my, and I'm not going to edit. I'm not editing a whole lot of this, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's 8. I truly think it's 8, but that is it that I have for this video. I'm going to try my best to like, child, we ain't editing a whole lot out of this video. And I know I can go to the analytics, but shout it out. Let me know what your age is. Let me know what are some things that you learned, some of your lessons that you learned in your 30s, okay? Shout down in the comments below. And let me know if this resonated with you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It does help for it to become a little bit more discoverable out here in these YouTube streets. And as I always like to say, if we vibe, don't forget to hit that button and subscribe, child. Join the tribe, join the community, and make sure that you never, okay, miss a beat. And until the next video, peace.